I have a question. If a podcast shits in the woods, is the Pope Catholic?
Welcome to Charbroiled Chats.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Good to be here, Walt. Good to be here. Good to be anywhere.
My daughter and her boyfriend were over for dinner last night, and they were like, "Oh, what are you doing tomorrow?" And I said, "Oh, I'm doing this podcast thing." And Matthew goes, "A podcast? You're on a podcast?" I'm like, "Yeah, Charbroiled Chats." And he gets to his phone, he brings it up, and he was just so impressed.
Okay, so tell him to share it with everyone he knows and subscribe.
Right. So I said, "Listen up and let everybody know." Yeah.
And like.
Oh, he was just beside himself. He was so excited.
I don't know if you remember this, Walt, a few months ago, I said, like, when we were online talking like this, every time you said something, it sounded like you were sanding wood.
Right.
I'm hearing that again. I don't know why. And I don't know if it's you or BAYLIE.
It might be me, because I have a vest on, so that's probably why. It's my...
Oh, maybe that was it. There you go. BAYLIE took 3 seconds to figure that out.
What was it?
It's my mic. It was rubbing up against my collar.
There we go.
Is it okay like that? Okay.
Yeah, it's gone.
We're okay now?
I'll sit as still as I can.
No, that's all right. I just didn't know, if everyone else heard it or if it was just me.
Well, I think we should clear up the thing about the oxygen, the pulse oximeter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
BAYLIE was going to ask her daughter, but I guess she didn't get around to that.
That's what she sent me.
Oh, that's what she sent
She sent me that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did I see something?
No, it was Walt was asking.
That I don't remember again?
What's your name?
Yeah, Grace, we sent it right to your house. We shipped it there.
BAYLIE sent me the answer to our question is, how does that thing that clips on your finger read your oxygen level?
And
it says the pulse oximeter works out the oxygen saturation by comparing how much red light and infrared light is absorbed by the blood, depending on the amounts of oxy-HB and deoxy-HB present. The ratio of the amount of red light absorbed compared to the amount of infrared light absorbed changes.
I never would have guessed that that's how it worked. I had like 3 other ideas.
Yeah, you said skin respiration was your idea.
Yeah, something like that, right? Yeah.
Like a frog breathes underwater or something. So is the thing shining a light on your skin and then your skin reflects?
It must be.
So I'm gonna text her right now.
And then an infrared and a red, and it compares the two. Or?
That's cool.
And I'm gonna ask her
who would have even guessed that you could do that, right?
Right.
Who invents?
Right.
Who invents this stuff?
Well, who would have figured out how to do that?
This is why I don't have any money, because I'm not someone who would invent something like that. Sadly.
I'm gonna ask her in layman's terms what all that means.
Are you guys into crypto?
One of my brothers does.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What the heck does that involve anyway?
I still don't understand it.
I don't either.
I really don't.
I've actually sat down and watched YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Doesn't do any good. It still doesn't make, like, same as NFTs.
I was thinking of getting like a Crypto for Dummies book.
Yeah, there must be one.
Well, I can't imagine it does not exist yet.
Right. Maybe you should write one.
Although it was funny, when I started work at the university, one of our departments is biostatistics, right? And I mean, it is dense. So I bought a book, Biostatistics for Dummies, but I needed a Biostatistics for Dummies on Biostatistics for Dummies because I still couldn't get it. I mean, now that I've been talking more to the faculty and researchers who do that, I understand it at a basic level, but like the tools that they use, those statistical modeling, I don't get it all at all.
Do you think the crypto thing is just, it makes you feel like an old fuddy-duddy? Like you should get it and you should believe in it because the young people do. So there must be some lacking on our part.
Mm-hmm. Luis keeps telling me his friend's brother has been doing crypto and he has like a Lamborghini now and something else now, and he's made a lot of money in it. And I don't think he's lying, actually. Like, I don't think this friend is lying. He's,
right.
a good friend of his and not a jerk or anything. So you know.
I mean, I open my wallet and I take money out and buy something. How do you buy a Lamborghini with crypto? I mean, is there an exchange, or is it all digits, all on the?
Yeah, I don't know if he bought the Lamborghini with crypto, but he made the money through crypto trading.
Right. And do you take it to the bank and
I guess you must be able to. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, I have no. I really. You know, it's interesting because it's based on the blockchain, right? Blockchain stuff, which is all about security of data. Like, I really haven't even read anything like an article somewhere about it. So
Yeah, you have a number that nobody else can possibly decrypt and get your stuff. But what does that mean?
well, and then there's that dude that lost his number.
Right.
Yeah, he lost it, and he lost millions of dollars.
Like his password or something, right? Yeah.
Could have written it down.
He did. He threw. From what I understand, he threw out the paper.
Oh, see, paper. That's the problem.
There you go.
You should have had it tattooed so he would never forgotten it.
Yes.
And then someone would cut off your arm.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But I had another thing I wanted to mention right off. I wanted to apologize because I made some comments in one of the previous episodes about Power of the Dog. I said I didn't like it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right.
And I just want to apologize for saying that because apparently I was completely wrong. Got 12 nominations. And I just want to go on record that I may not have even said what you thought I said.
Oh.
I really did like it. I just don't want the Academy to cancel me for saying I didn't like it. That's my point. I said it felt ponderous, but apparently...
Well, it looks kind of ponderous, even though I really love her as a director. I love her stuff.
Well, I think that's one of the main things about it that I've read is that it's ponderous.
It's supposed to be, I suppose.
Yeah. So
it may have just been the mood I was in, but I just didn't like it. But obviously I was wrong.
I guess so.
I want to apologize to Jane and Benedict and to you, all of you, and to our listener and the Academy.
Don't cancel me.
Thank you. You know, we talk about movies a lot. Maybe we should just do movie.
all right.
Just call it a movie podcast.
Yeah, whatever.
Charbroiled movies.
I know you're right.
I guess we talk about other stuff.
Yeah, what were we were gonna talk this week about the games that we get obsessed with, right?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
And I think I mentioned, Walt, that the only reason I ever got obsessed with games is because you would send things to me.
Right.
And I would tell you not to send them, and you would still send them.
Right. There were all those, what do they call them? They were like maze games where these little creatures would march through and you try to shoot them before they got to the end. And
Like Pac-Man?
kind of like Pac-Man, but, you know, they were early days of online video gaming.
Yeah, like Centipede was one of them, I think.
Well, Centipede was when you'd play in a bar. It was always on those consoles. I used to play
Oh, I
that.
never did that. I just had it on my computer at work.
Oh, yeah. I played at the Lantern in Lake Forest, Illinois.
The
That
Lantern.
was our watering hole, the Lantern.
Oh, that's funny. Where did you go to school?
Lake Forest College, it's outside of Chicago.
Oh,
Small liberal arts school.
sounds nice.
It was beautiful.
Lake Forest.
Well, that's where Ordinary People is.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Back to movies again.
there we go.
Yeah. Oopsie, circle around. Yeah, they shot that in Lake Forest, and we all went and watched them shooting the scenes in town. And
Oh,
we remember looking and watching a scene with Robert Redford and going, man, that guy is so short.
Yeah, I'd heard that.
was he?
Yeah, he's about my height. He's like 5'7".
That's funny. I never think of him as short. I don't know why.
No, you don't, because he's always standing on a milk crate or something.
Probably.
Even Newman was taller than him, and Newman wasn't a giant.
Right.
You remember Ghost Story, Fred Astaire? The final scene in it, he walks down the street, and they shot it two blocks away from where I was living. They, you know, everybody knew they were going to do it, so I got up like at 2 o'clock in the morning. They did it. It was perfect because it was snowing like crazy, and Fred Astaire was driven up in a car, and they had like 3 blocks, the entire 3 blocks lit. Generators and lights and everything, and I guess it was a period piece of some sort, and they had old cars parked along the street. And if you stood there and looked at it, you'd think, I'm looking at a movie. It was perfect already. And then all he did was get out of the car, and they said, okay, and he walked down the street.
Fred Astaire.
Yeah.
I love Fred Astaire.
It was a magical movie moment without it even being a movie, you know. It was
That's cool.
And he was a little old guy. Creaky guy.
Fred. That was based on a book that a Rochester writer wrote. Yes.
I don't remember.
What's the story?
Ghost story?
Yeah, but what's the plot line?
I've never seen it, but I think it has to do with like someone who got murdered or killed, and these guys were involved somehow when they were young.
Yeah,
I think
it was that guy who was the writer who was incredibly popular for a while. He did a couple of things.
Norman Mailer.
I think. I can't remember. Here again, facts that aren't facts.
Yeah.
Clive Cussler.
That's it, Clive Cussler.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, he was a writer. My father edited couple of his books back when he first was started, like in the 70s. Or his books, they're sort of adventure novels.
Oh,
yeah.
It's like about a guy who's a professional diver or something, and then he solves mysteries by diving.
Shipwrecks and all kinds of. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's a real niche, right?
Huge. I mean, the guy made billions.
Wow.
And he was an asshole too, apparently.
Really?
Which is one reason. Yeah, my father stopped working with him. He's like, he's just an asshole. This isn't worth it.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, you guys have been reading those articles about the divers who just do that free dive and they go as far as...
Yeah, that's as bad as climbing on the top of skyscrapers.
It is. I was going to say, I get the same reaction.
The same agita.
Like, oh my God.
Well, have you guys seen the documentary about the people who dove to rescue all those kids that were stuck in an underground cave?
Oh, I remember that.
They did that field trip.
Yes.
And they got stuck.
Yes. Is it on Netflix or something?
I haven't seen that. It's supposed to be very good, though.
Boy, I would like to see that. I can't. It'd be hard to watch. I'm sure I'd be like covering my eyes most of the time, but that was incredible.
Oxygen.
Wow. Anyway, so Snood was the first one I remember being addicted to. Do you guys remember Snood?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember exactly how it worked.
Yeah, you had a little guy, the Snood guy. At least that's what I called him. In the bottom, and there were rows of all these different, like little icon images. And I believe that he had to shoot to get at least 3 of them together, and then they would fall. But at the same time, they'd be coming down further and further. And, as the level went up, you'd have more of them, and they'd come faster and faster.
So it's Centipede under a different name.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, maybe they're all the same.
They're all the same. All those games, yeah.
Kind of. Well, they all trigger that thing in your brain. You get the little endorphin hit every time you have a little success.
Oh, is that the idea?
I think so. And then when you fail, you still think to yourself, well, obviously I can do better than that. Right. So you start over again.
Start again.
One of the games I'm addicted to right now, I inherited Luis's old iPad, so I reinstalled it on his iPad, so I started at the beginning, right? And for some reason, on the iPad versus on my Kindle or whatever I have it on, I have ads in it. It's really interesting to see the ads for the other games, though, because they'll always say, can you do better? Can you, are you as smart as a 90, whatever? And that's really, so it obviously taps into that.
No matter how complex the game, from those simplest ones to the Grand Theft Auto or whatever, I think they're all the same. They operate on that same endorphin principle or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's an addiction. It can be an addiction.
Yeah, it's like playing blackjack or something at a casino, or you're like, oh, you lose, and I'll get it this time, and it's the same.
Yeah,
kind of
I'm sure.
Feeling.
But it's interesting, like when you think about games that you play, like with a group of people. I wonder if like the same principle applies to all those games, because like if you're playing Monopoly or the Game of Life or something, like they're so slow moving, like do you still get that endorphin rush, or is it something else? Is it more like the communal thing playing? I don't know.
Well, when you roll the dice and you get the number you want to get to the square you want, you're like, yes.
Yeah.
So you do feel it's just maybe in smaller bursts.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, I guess you're right.
Often in those games, you're not successful all the time.
Right.
Like in Snood, you get that little hit every time you explode a character or whatever it is.
Right.
But in gambling, in traditional gambling or board games, I don't think it's what you're saying, Grace. You don't get the feedback every couple of seconds
Right.
that keeps you hooked. It depends on peer pressure to keep you playing.
Yeah. What hooks people on gambling then?
I think it's a lot about the money.
You know, I mean, seriously, what does hook people on gambling? What do they say?
Yeah. What did they say?
What do they say? The money?
Right, and they keep going back, thinking that the next time will be the big hit.
But they never win. You know what I mean? They never win.
Yeah, and I think it almost doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's the impression I get. Whether they win or lose, it's the thing. It's doing the thing.
Thinking, yeah, right.
The rush while you're doing it, you mean?
Right. Speak English, Doc. We're not scientists. That's where we are. We have no idea what we're talking about again.
Yeah, we don't know anything about cryptocurrency.
Right.
We don't know anything about gambling. We don't know anything.
So what is it you're addicted to now, Grace? What game?
Right now, two things. The spelling bee in the New York Times, although that's a tough one to be addicted to because it's only once a day. But I did find a generic word game online that that replicates that, so I can do that.
Yeah.
And the other one it's called Fruit Blast. And it's just a really like goofy, the images are very, Candy Crush images like from Wreck-It Ralph, it looks like that. But you just go up and up and up. And on my one Kindle, I'm at level like 2200 or something.
Wow.
And on the iPad, I'm at like the 600 level.
Are you playing right now, Grace?
I could be. I thought about bringing generic word game on here.
Right.
Yeah, Cecilia does word games, and then the balloon one where you shoot the thing and
Yeah,
it pops of balloons. And
I don't know that one.
yeah, it's just like the others. That's not much difference, but it's that same. You don't play Bailey? You don't?
I don't play the bubble one. I've tried it and I've lost interest kind of almost
But
immediately.
do you do casual?
Yes. I'm a big Candy Crush person. The newer one. Yeah, I have like 3 or 4 games that I play kind of intermittently. And then I do the crossword by hand.
Yeah, and it's funny, I think, like the kinds of stuff that you're attracted to, because I'm definitely attracted to things that have the puzzle element, right?
Yes.
And like when I look at Luis, all he's doing is shooting people. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there's definitely a lot of nuance, right? Like there's all the different loot things you can buy and, all the different tools they can use, but they're just shooting people and running, and that's...
Which one is that?
Well, Luis, let's see, what does he play a lot of? Destiny and Fortnite and Star Wars Battlefront. They're all the same.
Right.
They're basically all the same, but some of them look really cool.
Yeah.
And some of them have really cool music.
The casual ones, I'll do those for a couple of hours, but I never want to go back to play Candy Crush. But I do get hooked on the complex Xbox shooting games and stuff. Because you talk about an endorphin hit, man, when gives you that little feedback on the trigger.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, Spelling Bee doesn't do that.
Do you put that little thing in your pants too? while you play?
That has to be not far away. Yeah.
Like that's a real joystick, right? Yeah.
I'm sure it exists now. Maybe that's why Luis always has a pillow over on his lap.
Little, yeah.
Should we stop recording? Or no, we have to say, hey, thanks for listening.